And happy Mother's Day to everyone. It's one of those bittersweet holidays for a lot of us. I know it's all memories for some of us. So just want to remember that my mother's taste in movies was often unpredictable, and one that she secretly enjoyed was the 1963 movie PT 109 that dramatized the World War II experience of the then President John F. Kennedy. I suspect a bare-chested Cliff Robertson may have influenced her choice. But in an early scene, the young Kennedy is meeting his boat's crew for the first time and is hoping to find a chef among them to cook for the crew. One man announces that he used to help his mother by making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for his little brother. Kennedy asked if he could make any hot food. Peanut butter on toast was the crewman's unhesitant reply. So the scene demonstrated how sometimes we need to just hit the reset button and get back to basics. If you recall President Kennedy, he came from a rather affluent family and probably had never had a peanut butter sandwich, so he was going to learn something new. So what better time than this celebration of our mothers to just set aside our lofty expectations and realign ourselves with what is important and refamiliarize ourselves with just exactly how things work. There exists in the universe an intelligence wherein all knowledge resides. Every question we can think of has already been answered in this universe. Some call this intelligence God, but that connotation is too limiting because humans have been trying to define God for millennia and have been falling short because of their inadequate imaginations. Spirit is a term used to identify this all-knowing, all-powerful thing. The science of mind informs us that spirit is infinite, and that lays the foundation for our relationship with it. The human story is riddled with tales of conflict, pitting the forces of good against some manifestation of evil. Most societies recognize a God-type figure looming over the affairs of humankind and the universe in general, but separate humankind itself from that power, placing us between it and another power believed to be determined to tear us away. The basic mistaken belief in a duality of powers has laid the foundation for humankind's relationship with itself. The basics. Infinite is all-encompassing. It allows no room for another. This power of spirit, which we often refer to as being unconditional love, has no room for an opposite. Only the power of love exists. Accepting the infinite nature of spirit is key to understanding how spirit works with us and through us. Spirit is the creator, but being infinite can only create itself from itself. Science teaches us about atoms, molecules, and elements, the things from which other things are made. Spirit is constantly rearranging these things, causing stars, planets, unicorns, spiders, and flowers to spring into being and disappear without a trace. Spirit is all powerful, so its word is law, expressed by the character of the King in Oscar Hammerstein's The King and I, so be it said, so be it written, so be it done. Oscar must have known my mother because in her house we ran under a similar rule: if Mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Spirit must have grown bored playing chess with itself when one day set about creating an expression of itself that could shake up the status quo. Humankind emerged so much in the image of Spirit that we too have the power to create through the power of our word, if we understand how to do it. The actual creation part is done by Spirit. I think it might be a union thing, but Spirit has outsourced the design department to we spunky little humans who are empowered with self-choice, the unfettered ability to really screw things up, or in our better moments, lock into our true spiritual nature and demonstrate compassion, beauty, and joy. Mama says if we can't say something nice, say nothing. So how do we keep Mama happy? Science of Mind gives us two really powerful tools. Some form of meditation coupled with affirmative prayer or spiritual mind treatment are available to all and free of charge. There are as many ways to meditate as there are people willing to teach it. The important goal is to simply get out of our own way and let the wisdom of Spirit fill the voids in our thinking. Our egos are hesitant to let go of control. And so there's always this conversation going on. One of my early teachers described it as having the committee that sits on your shoulder and keeps reminding you of why you can't do things and how that's not going to work, and just all the reasons that discourage us. And we have this power within us that is trying to tell us how to get it done. Just simply saying, guiding us toward the right actions and the right choices. If we simply let go of the monkey chatter going on in our brain and let that wisdom flow down through us. Remember, if you've studied the science of mind at all, there are the three basic levels of existence. One is the spiritual level, in which everything is perfect, everything is unconditional love, no questions asked, period. Then we have this middle level, which is the things that we bring to the table, the things that we have been taught in our life, our common consciousness, if you will, from all of human experience brought together so that we have these little beliefs that certain things are true, even though in spirit they're not necessarily true. And you know the list, the things that say that, well, you were born in that part of the world, so you're probably not that bright, or maybe your family doesn't have any history of success, so how could you possibly be successful? And what makes you think you have the talent to do that new and exciting thing? There's no evidence for that. And those are the things that come down to us through time and through our experience. And then we have the level that in our teaching diagram is on the bottom. I suspect it's more of a circle from a center out type of thing. But the bottom line is that we have the perfection at one level, our beliefs in between, and then our actual experience of life. And when you drop perfection into a dirty filter, you're bound to pick up a little bit of that dirt on the way to your final experience. So our goal here in the Science of Mind is to scrub those filters and remind ourselves that we are entitled to what's up there in that perfect zone. We don't have to let that stuff in between contaminate it, and we get to learn how to identify the contaminants and scrub them out. And that's where meditation comes to us, where we just sit quietly and let it come to us. Our important goal is simply to get out of our own way. If you're new to meditation, be gentle with yourself. Your mind may not be comfortable releasing control at first. When you are distracted, just circle back. Passing sirens and barking dogs are the music of life. Just fold them into your releasing routine. Let your judgments fade and your heart open. Accept everything that flows in. You can sort it out later. That is where treatment helps. Affirmative prayer, or spiritual mind treatment, is a form of prayer that recognizes our unity with Spirit. It can be as direct as one step: I am. A directive into the universe that Spirit and I are one and the same. The power is my power. Stand and deliver. Typically, Science of Mind employs a 5-step treatment that creates a structure that reinforces the basic building blocks of unity. Everybody likes to have a few rules to play by once in a while, so the 5 steps gives us something to latch onto as a structure. Step 1 is the recognition that there is but one power, and that power is unconditional love. The one invoking the treatment, be it a practitioner or just a student of the Science of Mind doing their own work for themselves, may expound on this power, or at this point, as the occasion demands, in the interest of making clear the infinite nature of Spirit, its need to create, its ability to judge, and then so on and so on. You can reinforce that as much as you need for yourself, because after all, when you're doing a spiritual mind treatment, these affirmative prayers, you're really speaking to yourself. God already knows. Spirit already knows. We need to remind ourselves, and practitioners work to remind their clients, or the students working for themselves. We just simply need to state that fact. Yeah, one power, I'm it. Let's go. Unification is the second step, where the practitioner or student again affirms their understanding that we are all expressions of this one power, ourselves able to direct our experiences by clearly stating our beliefs. The third step is where we take action. The third step is making our declaration. The simple expression, I am, is a declaration. Another declaration, I am healthy. I am creative. I am loved. I am a loving person. Whatever the occasion of the prayer calls for, this is where we make that declaration. It can be long, it can be short. It simply needs to be clear, and it needs to be in the present, because Spirit doesn't have a memory. Spirit doesn't make plans. Spirit exists right here, right now. And we need to remind ourselves from time to time that we are healthy. We are creative. We are loving and loved. Note here that we are not wishing for a thing to happen. We are not bargaining with God, promising a reward for granting our desire. We are declaring a thing to be, firm in the knowledge that it is, and knowing we recognize Spirit's creation on our behalf. A lot of times we do our work, and the client will come back to us and say, wow, I've really been trying to find a new job and everything, and I just haven't found the one I'm looking for. So we have to ask, well, have you found anything at all? Because maybe what you have found is what you're looking for. And you can make up your own examples of that. It happens a lot of times. We get our good and we simply don't recognize it. You know, one of the things that we often ask for or work for is um, wealth or prosperity, more directly, because wealth is kind of a human term. But prosperity can come in many forms. Maybe you didn't find a $20 bill in the parking lot today, but maybe you met somebody new in your life that's going to change the way you live because that person brought something into your life that's been missing. Spirit often comes to us through trusted sources. But the next step can be hard for beginners, but grows easier with experience. Just let go. Release any thought of controlling how or in what form the answers arrive. Simply accept what comes and recognize that something might be the answer. Explore the possibilities. And then finally, the fifth step is just simply gratitude. For no better reason than a grateful heart is wide open to receiving the knowledge sent through us and recognizing our part to play. You know, Spirit does often come to us through trusted sources, and some spiritual truths visited upon me through my mother here's a few of them. Defying common sense is not strength, it is ego. If trusted people are telling you that something is right, it's probably right. Strength is doing the uncomfortable thing because it benefits others. It's easy to take the easy way out. Sometimes we have to butch up and do things that are a little harder because other people will benefit. And what better gift than to benefit others? Strength or courage is looking past what makes us feel good in the moment and recognizing that what works for everyone does make us feel better over time. You know, one of the hardest things about living in an urban area is having to be exposed to people who are having hard lives all the time. People that live on the streets, for example, and just don't have the things that we take for granted. How nice it would be if all of them were properly housed and properly fed, and we didn't have to step over them to get into our fancy cars and our luxurious offices and apartments. Forgiving those who trespass against us lands easier on the heart than the desire for vengeance. We have seen so many examples in just our recent history of people who have been so sorely wronged come out and speak words of forgiveness because they recognize that carrying that need for vengeance in their heart is only hurting themselves. Yes, it feels really good sometimes to strike out and smack someone who's done you wrong, but it doesn't last. Forgiveness is forever. So I just want to close today with what was actually the first thing I wrote down as this talk began to take shape a few weeks ago and history was unfolding. So I simply wrote down, I see a future whose history records the life of George Floyd as the point in time where the arc of justice tipped in favor of spiritual truth, and those responsible for his death are forgotten. Where all human history informs but no longer defines the common consciousness. The point in time where future generations look back upon and say, that is when separation began to subside and our souls recognized each other as one. It is as basic as peanut butter and jelly. Thank you.